Hello, how are you? Long time. Yes, nice to see you too. Welcome. Hello, hi, welcome. Come, Joe. Okay, attendee, everybody in. Hi. Hi, hi. How's it? How are you? Good, thank you. Hello. Finding you guys. Yes, nice to see you too. Thank you for coming.
2:30 or
Yeah.
something like that. Because we have to redress, and how was your night? Sleep well? Slept well? Yeah?
Yeah.
How was your night?
So what happens with this? You turn it
Air
on from
conditioning
here.
on off. I don't like
Okay.
this air conditioner.
Gale.
So yeah. So
Yes.
I turned it off, but then it was really warm. So and then I turned it on again and off and blah blah. So
So congratulations on your daughter. I keep seeing beautiful postings on how well she's doing and riding. Hey, she's got pretty. Hey? Yes. Yeah, then it's a different set of yeah. Yes. It's because of the cost of looking after them and the vet costs, eh? Yes. Yeah, no, stunning. Otherwise good, yes. Yes. Um she's with Future Life, yes. So unless they were invited, I'm not sure the final confirmation. But there's people from everywhere. You know. Yes. So, when you've got long in the tooth in this industry and you've earned a few wrinkles, eh? How's it? How you Z? Yes, 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 of course you can. Sorry? No, it's not on.
nice, huh? Really nice. Yeah.
Deal
Very
BA?
cool. And also, I like
So
also
hashtag Deal BA.
the design of
Okay, must I
the
say that
content.
to
Yeah,
everybody?
everybody.
Chrissy.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, really? Why don't you just get up and do some housekeeping? No, 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 okay. Oh,
Ah,
yes,
good question. Yeah, I don't know.
yes, okay. So what
Also
are we,
this
25 past? Okay, I think that's it, yes.
27.
Hey, yeah.
Thanks, thanks. Oh, so I'm number two. Maybe I'm sitting here. Yeah.
It's,
Oh, orange, you're green. It's nice, huh?
it's colors, yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. Abby? Who's this you called out? Orhan. So you're going to ask Orhan at the end of your speech to say, tell everybody back to the speech. Okay.
Hello? Hello, hello. Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for making the time to come today. Have we got everybody inside? I think they're still coming in. Looking around the audience, it's so wonderful to see so many people I've known for so long. Debbie, I can mention so many of you that when I started Stratcom in 1996, you became my clients in the years thereafter. And I've known some of you for more than 18 years, and I think that that's just fabulous. And thank you for the support, and thank you for being here today. So what we do is twice a year, we have our wonderful colleagues from around the world that come to the region that we're in. So this is our 9th conference on packaging and innovation. And over the last 3 years, we've been lucky enough to present in Sao Paulo, meet the customers in Istanbul, and Berlin, New York, Shanghai, which was a big learning curve, very exciting market, and of course Moscow. So today, I'm going to introduce you to these wonderful colleagues of mine. Let me just see if I can. Sorry, let's just see. Yeah, there we go. All right, so in 1996, I started Stratcom literally from home. I studied as a graphic designer, which was first as a fine artist, which was a passion, but I wasn't sure I could ever make a living being a fine artist. So I decided to turn it into commercial art. And I began my career here in South Africa. I did a stint in London at Pentagram. In those days, Pentagram was one of those amazing agencies. Came back, started a small business that promptly failed after 6 months. Went back, learned a few more things, started on the client service and read every book I could about strategy and marketing. Started 1996, so we are 22 years old. And what is amazing is that I was introduced to Christoph and Thomas from Berlin 4 years ago now. And 4 years ago, we started and we said, well, this is something that we want to grow. And how can we grow a global group? So we started cooperating together, and since then it's grown to all 7 regions. So today we welcome Christoph Waldu from Berlin. Thank you very much for traveling all that way. And Dave Seredini, who has traveled all the way from New York to be with us today. Margot Tageta, which is from Sao Paulo, and Dr. Orhan Irmak, thank you very much. And Anna, who comes from Moscow. And Tracy, who has traveled all the way from Shanghai. So this is our group, and this is what we operate with as an association. So Stratcom has built our own purpose. You know, for so many years we've been building and developing purposes for our customers and building positionings that we thought it was time that we built something for ourselves. And what do we do? So we craft innovative packaging for the world, to build deeper connections between ourselves and our customers, and between our customers, their brands, and the packaging, and the worlds that they live in. So for us, connections is very important, as well as our team. That are smart, so in other words, intelligent packaging, which you'll hear people from different regions speaking on smart packaging, beneficial, that add value to customers, and beautiful. Where we begin is we always have to look at the strategy. So packaging is, as you know, an integral part of the entire chain. So we look at this chain and we develop and we say, well, what is that one key need state or insight? And for us, it boils around what we call the strategic value consumer. So is that consumer a heavy user? Is that consumer a light user? And where do we need to move the brand within the positioning area? So when we look at packaging in this way and we design packaging architecture against a strategy, you'll see that we have a lot of traditional consumers, you know that, in this region, and we have a lot of new and emerging consumers. So in our architectures, we need to be able to recruit within all those tiers, and through strategy and the packaging that's designed to work, whether it be an older consumer or a younger consumer, we can build it from there. So this is an example of how packaging can express this natural trend. We all know what these trends are that are happening in the marketplace to some degree. This one is, how natural is your natural organic soap? Do you take the time to read the list of ingredients, or just with great insights and great packaging, do you get all the messaging that you need? This is an interesting trend that we're seeing starting to come through. One can debate in the different regions the relevance, but it's gender neutrality. So we see, if we walk into our supermarkets, we see men's products which are dark and blue and black, and we see ladies' products that are light and flowerful with light color. What's interesting here is that unisex is a trend that we believe is going to come more and more as we see masculinity and femininity taking equal pride on the stage. And this is social media, this is friendship, this is gone are the heavy days sometimes of packaging depending on your category and what you can do. We've seen it happening in Tylenol, we've seen it happening in some medicinals, we see it happening in beverages, more a light and easy social media way of communicating what the journey into the consumer world is. Simplicity, light-hearted design, and it connects how quickly your message is to your consumer. This is also a brand image disruptor. So they come through using life influences, creative expression from graffiti, the arts, and various cultural influences. So we're seeing more and more creative expression come through in limited edition, in exciting rollouts that hark back to the days of whether it be painters or whether it be geography or whether it be a cultural nuance that pushes these kinds of designs. And of course, the design trends in color blocking, modern color use. You can be so disruptive simply with strong color. So we as designers have known for long the significance of color when it comes to packaging. So we draw on cultural histories, mythologies, and symbolism to tap into color. And what you'll see in a lot of the retail markets is this bright, symbolic color starting to shout louder and louder. And something interesting that I picked up when I was in Sao Paulo, and we've seen it not only in Sao Paulo, but we're seeing it more and more come into the beginning of trending, which is deconstructed typography. So it's about going back to the days where typography was more hand-created and looked fresher. So yes, modern brands, crafting brands, smaller limited edition brands can benefit from deconstructed and reconstructed typography. And again, my colleagues will expand on some of these, but the custom-made, this on-demand trend. So we're keeping a close eye in South Africa with regard to how credible is it from a manufacturer's point of view. We have these desires to do short, limited edition runs, but do we have the capability right throughout the chain? So I think that that's quite often a challenge that we face, but it's something I think we need to look to overcome because it's a trend that will only grow. Mobility, so Uber is only the beginning of transportation's megatrend. Look for shared mobility to become standard, not only in cars, but also in bicycles, scooters, and even private aeroplanes. So this pace and speed of change. This slide, I debated whether I put it up because the context can be, for me, it's about hijacking. Where are the opportunities to hijack in South Africa to make a difference on our packaging and our brands? So for me, it's this juxtaposition of the traditional consumer that enjoys the brand that's been around for a long time, and it's this modern millennial consumer that we need to recruit that doesn't necessarily always want to use those products that their parents use. They want something different. So for us, that's a great opportunity in South Africa, and how do we achieve what we want to do there. So living and doing business in Africa requires an ethos and a connection to the informal, invisible, and intangible. It's important to talk aspiration, yet remain within reach. So if we look at something like, I've taken Zambuk as an example, as a Renaissance brand, a brand that has so much equity and history that is very delicate to modernize. So we see this trend of growing in the millennials, but we also see the heritage brands. So we had a fair debate about this, and there's a nice opportunity that I'll expand on. So there's been a renaissance of sorts of heritage brands, and a good proportion of our projects walk the tightrope between modernizing and finding the magic that taps into our childhood. So this is a nice example of somebody here. I don't know if many of you know Mahlangu. She is an Indebele artist. And had we looked at this 20 years ago, I don't think her art would have come through in terms of packaging, nuance, design, regionality. She has created the Belvedere graphics on the Belvedere bottle. She's also done an Absolute bottle. So in terms of looking for regional nuances, different designs, and disruptive thoughts, she's also been responsible for creating the insides of some of the latest BMW, the limited edition and series with her art. So it shows us that there's a renaissance and an opportunity for African art to come to the fore. So we enjoy design elements such as hand-drawn typography, modern color palettes, and we're proud of our heritage and enjoy putting our own flair into traditional design ideas. Our design is vibrancy that reflects the attitudes of our people. I put this in just as an example because it's an ideation example of how one can be disruptive and modern with a brand that we've known for a very long time, incorporating glass, iconography, deboss, closures, and so on. So heritage brands can disrupt to recruit modern consumers. Novelty, how do we do novelty and limited editions? Many of us have got brands that we don't necessarily want to disrupt the core. So in our architecture, as we evolve, we look and say, sure, what about novelty and limited editions? So novelty generally works whether or not you buy into the message behind it. Something like this is fun. It puts the attention of the consumer back onto the brand for the limited period of time. Novelty, this one can see vintage packaging sometimes can create a platform which these particular brands can stand up and say, hey, we've been here for 50 years. But it's like date night. So is it a limited edition that we launch as a date night with a brand that we have nostalgia with, whilst we're recruiting the millennial consumer? So this then is quite trendy and something that Iris helped me put together. Africa's magic. So we talk about nostalgic brands around the world. We talk about brands with heritage. And then I said, well, how do we contextualize this in Africa? How relevant is it in terms of bringing those millennials into our brands? Do they want that heritage brand? Yes, they do as a traditional consumer. But as a millennial consumer, they're looking for magic. It's about discovering Africa that is distinctive and positively portrays the continent that we see are on trend. Africa is one of those emerging markets that still has the power and the credibility to drive this kind of nuance. So the challenge in our packaging architectures with older brands, retention of the older consumer, make sure we don't lose them, recruit of the newer millennial consumer, and what does that mean in a portfolio? How do you visually express that so that you retain and maintain whilst you reignite your strategic value consumer? This was interesting, and the word citizen woke. Hey, Iris, citizen woke. Woke means wake up, they're awake. And I think we've seen on the press, there's been an increased awareness of the appropriation of African culture. So Louis Vuitton used Africa as an inspiration, but isn't this incredible how we look at those boots coming out of inspiration from African traditional cultural bags of going home in Ghana. And I think we're going to see more and more a resurgence of using things that are relative to us, that are going to recruit the consumer, and different disruptive ways of looking at it. And this is interesting because in August 2017, Kenya's government completely banned plastic bags. So Kenya is one of the most advanced, I believe the second most advanced in the world with regard to biodegradable everything, including packaging. So they get a fine as formidable as $19,000 if they transgress this and they bring plastic bags. So you can imagine what the planning is happening in this region for biodegradable packaging. And then we say, know your food. So from farm to table, there's an authenticity and connects with consumer as well as drives the regional relevance of supporting farmers. We're going to see more and more local consumers that want to buy products that are local, that want to support businesses that are local. And then I've touched on the biodegradable. So I spoke with a lawyer the last few days that's been helping draft this promulgation with regard to biodegradability because I sat with DuPont maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and we had this debate, how relevant is it for Africa? I mean, it's relevant in my heart, because I believe we should be doing something. But how relevant it is from a commercial proposition, because it costs a lot to make one's packaging biodegradable. And by September, the government has asked for businesses, producers, which are defined as any person, category, or persons or brand owner who is involved in paper and packaging products. So they need to put forward their thinking by September this year. And in that thinking, have a plan. And the plan means how is it going to benefit PDIs? And how is it going to, what is the plan of action going forward? So for us, that's going to be interesting. Obviously, it's very expensive to jump straight into something like disposal, which is completely biodegradable. But it'll be an interesting journey ahead for packaging, and it's something worth looking at. Because as you know, when you're changing structure, it's not an easy exercise. It can take a year, sometimes longer. Hey, Karen. So here's one of those reuse opportunities, a glass beverage. This is a global beverage. So brands use the reusable platform to reduce waste. So there are many platforms that I showed you in that hierarchy. So some of them are reusable, which will gain you some credibility with regard to the mandate and the Waste Management Act going forward. This simply has pods to change your flavor. This is one that was quite interesting. This is olive oil in a caramelized sugar packaging. So your packaging actually becomes part of your product that you use. And then I threw this one in because this has been a long-standing debate, and I was talking to Bronwyn earlier from Coke, and I started working with her in 2008. And we at that stage, we already wanted smart packaging, and Coke and ourselves, we formed joint ventures and we looked at smart packaging because I saw this coming in the future, but maybe we were too far ahead, hey Bronwyn? But I don't think we are anymore. So my colleagues will talk to you about smart packaging, but for us the challenge has been, so how relevant is it in South Africa? When will consumers have data? When will consumers engage with smart packaging? So for us, we believe that what's driving Africa's m-commerce boom is one of the most significant reasons is why it's growing faster in African markets compared to the rest of the world, is that we have a lack of infrastructure. So more and more of our consumers that we debate, is it relevant, isn't it relevant, are banking already with technology. They're using apps that help them to communicate the stock price of their produce from their farm in the morning. So I think it's something we must keep in mind. So look at the ingenuity of how people are wanting to remain connected and how they use this tool. Things like Mall for Africa. Mall for Africa have done a deal with DHL to create drop-off points in the US and global e-commerce sites through eBay. So in other words, we're allowing African product to be exported on big platforms into different regions. Sometimes it can be tough though. Sometimes we don't have the manufacturing, sometimes there are different things and considerations that we have to consider in order to move into this faster in this economy and pace that we're needing to do. So the biggest growing sector is the younger middle class. So for example, Lucasade on E, one of the UK's biggest selling energy drink, is now part of the Lucasade Ribena story. So they gave a free ride. So for me, intelligent and smart packaging has to have a relevance and a region back to the brand. If it doesn't have a real reason, it's not going to work. So in terms of, it's not a big idea from an advertising agency, and perhaps it's not a traditional promotional idea. It's an idea that is e-commerce viable. So it's about thinking differently. It's about looking at things we've looked at the same way forever and interpreting it and saying, if we're really going to truly innovate, how do we take that forward? This was something I picked up. I went to the Active Intelligent Packaging Congress, and there we found these caps that measure hydration. So they measure how much you drink water per day, and they actually send a message to your phone to say you haven't had enough water. So of course these are interchangeable caps that can go across many different industries. Things like this limits the amount of dosages that you can take in a day. So it's a scheduled drug. but it will simply lock the packaging if additional dosages are going to be tried to be taken. This is just simply disruptive. There's no technological science in this, but it's looking at something that we've looked at the same way in a different method. Simplicity, minimalism design has been around for some time now, and it's not going anywhere soon. We're seeing that it will grow, and we're seeing this abstract simplicity and disruption as a real opportunity. I'm not going to spend too long on this because Chris will talk more in terms of this kind of intelligent pack, but it's interesting that this is a cap cam. It's not it's not a GoPro, it's a cap cam. So it's a camera that you can get 360-degree filming off your packaging, limited editions. Simple things like consumer insights. So this is a wine label, but it's created in such a way that it becomes your tasting chart. So you taste your wine, you check your tasting chart and how you grade it. And again, I mentioned earlier mobility revolution. So if we see things like this with McDonald's, they're taking into account the mobility revolution on bicycles. This is a pack specifically designed to go onto a handlebar. So if you are going to be using a subscription to bicycles, etc., looking at those packs. And for us, it's about the lightness of the pack, the reusability of the pack, and it's also about the modernity of the pack, but also how do we transport the pack? What are the user's need states? So in terms of technology trends, we see the right now, content mixology, the blurred lines, on-demand delivery, and global technology and wearable technology. So these all together in our world, in South Africa and Africa, digital packaging is not that big yet, but we see it coming. So we have a lot of traditional packaging, active packaging that keeps things longer for on shelf life, maybe has different kinds of solvent inside that need to be looked after, intelligent packaging, and digital packaging. Digital packaging, you can get data returns, so in terms of where your shopper is shopping, how often he shops, the location he shops. You can even change your language by region in terms of digital and smart packaging. So we need to make it relevant, engaging content, integrate with other marketing tools, clear call to action, buy, track, and share, and where users are engaging. So just as a thought starter, there's this technology which is quite new, but it's mom being able to take her own Sona at home. Now, as an insight to a product that talks to moms with an app that links back to their phone, this is something that really talks to the user. So it's that need state. And imagine if something that were driven purely to new moms or to the different trimester phases linked up and created that kind of insight and technology off their packaging. Whilst at the back, we gathered the data. Where did they shop? How long did they shop? How long did they spend on it? Or if you could remotely tell control your baby's bottle, the temperature of their milk. And it's got a thermoprint on the side. So not only do you remotely say, heat the bottle to X degrees, you can see how hot it is. Uber have hooked up with NASA. I don't know if any of you are familiar with that. And so Inspirational, hey? So, and I put this one, it's my last one, and I needed to put this in because I loved one of the things that he said. Cyril Ramaphosa, obviously our newest president.
As I conclude, allow me to recall the words of the late, great Bra Hugh Masekela. In his song, Tumamina, he anticipated a day of renewal, of new beginnings. He sang, I wanna be there when the people start to turn it around. Mary Julius, wa tshwenya and ngongo uto tshwenya chote. I want to be there when the people start to turn it around, when they triumph over poverty. I want to be there when the people win the battle against AIDS. I want to lend a hand. I want to be there for the alcoholic. I want to be there for the drug addict. I want to be there for the victims of violence and abuse. I want to lend a hand. Send me. As I conclude...
Help me here. No. So for us, we want to be there when we start to turn it around with waste management. We want to be there where we start to really innovate in Africa on our packaging. We want to be there where we make a difference to lives, where we get things to consumers quicker when they need it. We want to connect deeper with the continent and what it is that we can offer as a whole to all the people in this region. Thank you very much. So Christoph, let me introduce Christoph Waldu from Berlin. Some of you have already met him. Thank you, Christoph.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, that's good, huh? Okay, so thanks for the introduction, Gail, and also thank you, Gail, for organizing everything. It's great again, and it's my third time that I'm here in South Africa, and I must say I fell in love with this country the first time I was here because it's so beautiful. I like the people, so thank you, Gail, that I had the opportunity to come back. Okay. Okay, I want to talk about packaging innovation and structural design. That's my topic. And so there are 4 things I want to share with you in this presentation. The first thing is very short. I will talk about GLBA in Berlin, so our role in this whole group. I want to talk about, packaging innovation and packaging structural design. And I will share a model with you. We made a big study on kind of analyzing packaging, what it can do. And it's a model what I want to share with you, and maybe you can work with that model. Number 3 is I'm going to show you some case studies based on that model. And number 4 is I want to focus on some packaging trends from the European side and more from the technological side. We've seen a lot of design trends, and we will see them as well from my colleagues, but I want to focus a little more on the technology side. I'm going to explain you why. So, starting with Bernd & Partner GLBA Berlin. It's a crazy name, Creality, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's a combination of creativity and reality. And I think that's our core, that's our main USP. And as we're sitting together here in our group frequently, I always thought I'm not that German stereotype, but the longer I work together with these guys, I think I am. Yeah. So it's not only the German accent, but what I'm trying to hide. But you know, it's also the mentality. It's always coming back to this German engineering. Yeah. So I'm a packaging engineer by myself, studied packaging engineer and an MBA. So I'm a packaging freak, I would say. So thinking about engineering, thinking about how can we make a mass production for packaging and bring this into life, that's our core, what we have, that we came from GLBA Berlin. And it's a great thing to share this within the group. So, which means within the group, now we have this possibility and this opportunity really to think about technical things as well. So engineering aspects within all of our designs, which is a great thing for the group. And so we can share our skills. And engineering is one skill, but we have another really great variety of different skills all over the world in our group. So yeah, that's the explanation of BNP Creality. In Europe, we are working for a lot of different brands. We're working for Bayer. We have also experience with Beck's, Coca-Cola. I think here are some people from AB InBev. Is it right? Yeah, hey. And from Coca-Cola, this, hi. So, and many more brands. And that's all too. It's not a brand and partner show now. So, okay. I'm just want to share with you now the structure, what we call structure of packaging innovations. And that's what I meant with a big analysis, what we did. I think packaging innovation or innovation is a buzzword. Everyone is talking about it. But you don't know what is innovation and how you can deal with it. So what we did is we really deep dive into this topic and trying to analyze packaging itself and seeing packaging as a holistic thing. So holistic packaging design is very important for us. So I want to share with you this model. And you see this, I hope you can see this white on gray. Is it okay for you? Yeah? Okay. So this is a model. We worked very, very hard and long on it. I mean, now it looks very simple, but there's a lot of things behind it. So I'm going to explain this model to you. And, you know, it starts from the inner core and goes, you know, to the outer ring and then to the next outer ring. And we're talking, when we talk about packaging design and packaging innovation, we always try to see the whole thing. It's not only graphics, and that's what we are talking also in our groups. It's not only graphics, it's refinement, it's color, it's features, shape, material, system, everything around it. And we are talking about packaging innovation. It can be just one part of it. For example, a new graphic or a new material or new features or what else. So to make it more tangible, I'm going to explain this to you on an example. And that's why I asked for Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola, you did this for years, a great job. So I have a model, you know this, and the proof is the Coca-Cola packaging. So the first decision, what you're doing on a system is that if you have a product like a beverage, you have several choices in your system. What kind of packaging do you choose? And from a consumer perspective, it's really a completely different message what you have. So whether it is a bottle or is it a can, it looks completely different. And the funny thing, it's the first design decision. And the most funny thing is that this decision is usually taken by engineers and not by designers. Because maybe they're looking at machinery and runnability on machines and everything, and they decide sometimes the system. So, but this is the core. Because you have to start with this, it's not possible to make a bottle or to transform a bottle into a can or a can into a bottle. Really, believe me, we tried this a lot. And it's not possible. Yeah, you can shape a bottle, but it's not. Shape a can, but it's not a bottle. Yeah. So going to the next thing, it's a material, and look what possibilities do you have. If you're talking about a new bottle, look at this. What is able? You can do this from glass, from PET, from bioplastics, what Coca-Cola is doing, or also from aluminium. Yeah. Again, a lot of design features and also kind of innovation features. What you can do. Or shaping. I mean, it's clear, if you see Coca-Cola, you always have this iconic shape in your head. But it's not an easy thing to transfer this on a PET bottle because you lose some things, you lose some, yeah, some basic things on a bottle, what you have on a glass bottle, for example, and you lose it on a PET bottle. The next thing is if you imagine this 0.5 liter bottle to 1.5 liter bottle. So you get different dimensions. So it's kind of tricky. But you can shape, of course, you can shape, oh, sorry. You can shape also cans. Yeah. So it's again, it's a feature, something what you could use. Going over to features, and if you just see the different closures what you have on top for a Coca-Cola bottle, it's quite amazing what you are able to do. Again, it's a possibility of bringing innovation into the market. And also here on this decoration, you could go for typical label, direct printing, sleeve, and so on, and so on, and so on. There are many more. And of course, graphics. I mean, here's one example what Coca-Cola did a few years ago. But you can be innovative in a graphic design as well. So, and we will see many examples of innovative graphic design. But we believe it's only a part of it, of everything. Going to the color. I mean, you could have different colors of assortment. You all know that. But you can also play with the color, for example, on a bottle itself. You know, it doesn't have to be transparent. It can be green. What else? Yeah. So the last thing is a refinement. And here you find another bunch of different ways to be innovative. You can go with matte varnish. You can go with pigmented ink here, for example, or thermochromic things. So ink, which shows when the Coke is cold, then you see here the ice cubes, and if not, they're hidden. So I think maybe this wheel helps you a little, you know, to really see the structure, what you can do with packaging innovation, and makes this kind of buzzwords a little bit clearer. Yeah, that you really have a feeling for what it means, and you can. And the funny thing is, you don't have to work on everything overall. You just can work on the graphic design, or you do something in features or something like that. Okay. But I mean, the best thing what you can do is really to work on everything. Yeah, to see the whole. I know in reality it's not easy because you have machines, you have your processes and everything. But sometimes you have the possibility to start from scratch. And then you can really work on everything. And I have some examples here for you that I want to share with you. So packaging innovation is success stories. This one here is a very famous brand in Europe, especially also in Germany. Coming back to my German stereotype, it's Müller. Yeah, I mean, that's the most German name you can have, Müller. So this is a big dairy company. And they used to be in that packaging here, yeah? And they were quite successful. It's 500 milliliters of flavored milk. Yeah, you can have it in chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, what else. And they came to us and say, okay guys, here's what we want. We want to have this cup, but we want to have it more convenient. We want to have a reclosing system on it. You know, it should be more ergonomic because it's too big and everything around. And we made a first design based on that cup, sorry. And it doesn't work out. Because, we tried, and that's what I meant. We always tried to make a bottle out of a cup. And it's not possible. So finally what we did is we transferred this into a completely new packaging system in those bottles. You see, and then you have all the possibilities. You can think about convenience, reclosing, and everything. And it went quite successful. But one story, so this not always running, like you think. We brought this into the market, and there were coming complaints from the consumers, and they said, "Hey, I like your packaging, but you did something with your product. It's not that much." That intense aroma, that intense taste, there's something missing. You changed something. And Müller says, no, we didn't change anything. We just put the same milk into the bottle. But what happened, if you see this diameter here on the cup, and you open it completely, you have your nose, directly over the milk. And if you see the small diameter here from the bottle, it's only, you know, that size, and you drink and you don't get the full flavor in your nose. So, but people thought, well, that's not my Müllermilch. What was the answer to this? We changed the recipe. We made it much more intense because people want to have this intense taste. We didn't change the packaging, we changed the recipe, which was a really interesting story, also from coming from the 5 senses aspect, for example. Okay, so putting the next on the German stereotype thing, these are sausages, okay? Okay, so producer came to us, Rügenwalder Mühle, very German name, Rügenwalder Mühle with a lot of U's. So, and they said, okay, we want to enter into the sausage markets with small Wiener sausages. And this was the current packaging in Germany. What we did, we really overthought everything, what we can do, what consumer learned and everything. And what we did is we made a completely new concept, product concept out of it, which goes into the snacking area, which means we took a cup, we put the sausages, not flat on the bottom of the pack. No, it stood upright. So, which means for the consumer, they had the feeling that, oh, this is something new because it was really outstanding on the shelf, and they have the possibility to snack. You open, you take one sausage, putting the lid again and on top, and just put it back into the fridge. Very successful, and also we had a completely different price point in the market. So just to give you a feeling, this packaging here or these products you can buy in Germany for about €1. This one here is €2.50 around. I mean, still the same sausages, nearly the same taste. But with packaging, you have the possibility to do something really different, and the consumer pays for this. So that's again, it's the power of packaging. Another thing, next German thing, potato salad. You like potato salad as well? So Germans are really into potato salad, so it's a big brand. So look at this, that's the former packaging. Yeah, it's a small bucket. And I mean, it says everything, then I am from an industrial producer. So there's nothing more natural. You even don't see potatoes, you just see, the ready product. And they came to us and said, okay, let's go for a completely new packaging design, make it more natural, make it less industrial, and please, it should run on our machines. So what we did is we went into the plant and looked what they have, and we took the diameters, for example, here in the packaging and said, okay, let's go for a completely different thing. We took a cup, a transparent cup, which makes it much more natural because people look at the cup and they see what they get. And we put a cardboard banderole around it with a very different graphic design, much more natural on it. Funny thing is coming to the point of sustainability. When you ask the people in Europe and talking about sustainability and packaging, most of the people are blaming packaging and say, "Hell, come on, this is not only just producing rubbish and blah blah blah." And the next thing is plastic is bad. That's asking consumer in Europe, they have really an issue with plastic. I think it's different in the US, Dave. I think you're not so, don't see so bad plastic like in Germany. But if we ask them, say, okay. So asking people in Germany, how about this packaging? They say, oh, this is much better than this. Because, that's transparent and they're using cardboard and everything. Looks much nicer. But in reality, if you compare and you just see the numbers, this one is much better because it's less plastic than this, and you don't have an additional packaging part, this banderole. So sometimes people really just see something and they're acting emotional, and from the rational side, it's completely different. So next example from Dr. Oetker. I think You're someone from Dr. Edgar? Oh, okay, good. So maybe you know this. It's also from the European market. It is an icing for cake, for baking. And this was the traditional packaging. That was the starting position. It was a stand-up pouch where you have the icing. And you have to do, or when you want to use this icing, you have to take this pouch, put it into boiled water. Then it gets liquid and hot. And then you can pour it over the cake. If you see this packaging, it's a mess. Because you have to put it in, then it's hot, then you burn your fingers, you're trying to pour this over the cake. It's really, we've seen it in focus groups, and consumers, they really had an issue with that. So what we did is, again, remember our design wheel? We made a completely change into another packaging system. So which means we went into a cup, and we put a handle here on this. So the idea is that you have your pot with hot water, boiled water, and you just hang in that part, and that handle here stays outside, stays cool. So you can heat it up, it gets liquid. You take the cold handle, open the lid, and you can pour it over the cake very easily. So big benefit, big advantage, and very successful as well. And again, talking about pricing in the market, this one is much more expensive than the stand-up pouch. But people buy it because they see a value in it. They see an added value in it. Yeah. Okay. Another thing, the change again, system. From tubes, this one is what we did for Bayer, for Bepanthen. I'm not sure if you have the brand here. You have it, okay. So this is a traditional packaging, and it's an anti-scar gel. So if you have a scar, you can put the gel on top, and it should help, should make the scar much less visible. So the basic idea here was, and we had some clinical studies behind it, if you do a massage right before you put the gel on the scar, you get more blood into the upper surfaces of the skin. And when you put then the gel on it, you have a much better effect. So what we did, we combined both. We had this massage part on the packaging, and we have the gel here on top. And again, it brings an added value to the consumer, and you have a big benefit out of it, and they pay for it, again. So you see, when you really have the possibility to change, let's say, really the whole system and bring in an added value to the consumer, they are motivated to pay more because they get something for their money, okay? And here's the last example. It's from aspirin. It came that aspirin, and we worked very long time for aspirin. They changed the way how they press the tablet, which makes it much faster to get the ingredient, the aspirin ingredient, into the blood. Which means this aspirin, the new aspirin, if you take it, it only takes, I think, about 45 minutes until it's in your blood, which is great. The old one is about 1.5 hours, 1 hour maybe, depends. But the thing was, it is faster, but for legal reason and registration reasons, we were not able to write this on the packaging. So we had the challenge, how can we show that the new aspirin is completely new and faster without saying it in words? So what we did is, again, completely change in the packaging and packaging structure. So we had this innovative packaging where we just changed from the blister pack into this film pack, yeah? And with the new graphic, people really get the feeling that it's really something new and that it's faster and that's modern, yeah? And it's selling quite well. Okay, so these were some case studies, that kind of proof of the model what we have. And finally, I want to show you some innovative technologies for packaging innovations. What we we frequently, I think, and everything, every one of us who is in the packaging industry is looking for some trends and everything. So we did this as well. We went to Interpack, for example, in Düsseldorf for the biggest trade fair. Or we are frequently talking to suppliers to the biggest one. And here's only a few examples of what's possible outside and what's out there. So from our side, and it's more the European and Western world focus, I think we have four major trends for packaging. And the first thing is bioplastics. The second is convenience. I mean, that's an overall trend which goes, I think, now for 30, 40 years. And I think it will take the next 20, 40 years. Then I think innovative printing technologies is one thing, what's coming from the technology. And number 4 is smart packaging. Okay? So I have some examples, but you know, this is really just picked 3. Because that would be another presentation. I could speak, I don't know, 1 hour about bioplastics, 1 hour convenience, printing, and so on. So here are just 3 examples. Starting with bioplastics. This one here is a coffee system, a capsule system, which is based for the Nespresso machinery, but it's with completely new materials, which are much more sustainable because it's biodegradable. And in Europe, there is a discussion coming up concerning the Nespresso capsules. Because if you think about it and say, hey, so much packaging for 1 cup espresso, I mean, it's crazy to be open, yeah? But so still we don't have the discussion very much because, I don't know, consumer liked it so much to have this Nespresso. But it could be that also maybe from the legal side, the state, the government could say, hey, in the next 5 to 10 years we have to change this because it's so much waste for 1 cup of coffee. So, but they're working on it, and the producers and eco capsules, for example, that could be one option to get out of this issue. Another example here, it's Frosch, which means frog. I mean, you see this? So they're doing detergents and they are into chemicals, but what they did, they are the first, I think the first worldwide to have 100% recycled PP, post-consumer recycled, which means they really collect polypropylene bottles and put them into a kind of recycling process and make new bottles out of that, which is great because it was not able, you know, a few years ago you weren't able to do this from technical things with polypropylene. You could only add, let's say, 50% of recycled PP to a bottle, but now with the technology it's possible, which is really great. So in here another example, it's biocompostable foil, for example, for raw chocolate bars. You see here that film, it's biocompostable, and also this folding box material, this cardboard. So these 3 examples just stay for a bunch of different things what's going on with biomaterials and with sustainability, okay? Convenience, yeah. That's, I mean, the things what I showed you before, those references, they also went into this convenience topic. But here are some more examples. I mean, this one is selling really well. That's from GlaxoSmithKline. It's Voltaren. It's an analgesics gel you have to put on your skin. And they developed here a special kind of opening lid, which means you turn it, you push the gel through this hole here, and you have to chance to massage this right on this area where you have your aches. You know, very nice. Or another thing, and I picked one example from the metal industry, from metal cans. Sorry. Usually, if you think back, I don't know, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years ago, a can looks like a can, the last 100 years. I think it's still the can Napoleon had invented. So there's nothing happening outside. So we are so happy that here is something to see which is new. So what they did here is they put a hole here in the lid and put a label over it. And through the process of autoclaving, you know, you get a pressure or under pressure in this pack. So it's possible really that the lid here stays on a can without, you know, without having this let's say mechanical combining a mechanical process. So when you open the lid here, this label, the air comes into the pack and you just easily can remove the lid. Yeah. A nice system, and it really pays into this field of convenience. Or another one here. It is a small cup, or yeah, kind of cup, which looks like a spoon, and you open it, and you can put here the liquid here into the spoon area, and just eat it. Okay. So 3 examples for really a bunch of different convenience topics. So number 4, printing technology. So remember now we are in the outer ring of our model. It's all about printing and refining. This one is one of my favorites. So, and you see how people hate plastic. You see this here? So that's how usually when you pack vegetables in the supermarket, they are very often in the plastic packs and plastic bags with holes in it. But the main purpose or the main function the plastic bag has is, you know, to put a label on it. So, but when you think about it, do we need the label? Can we get rid of the label? So what they're doing is they just take a laser and laser on each vegetable, on each single. So, which is cool idea because you don't need a label anymore. Yeah. Or another thing in printing, it's nougat cream, very famous Italian nougat cream, Nutella. I think you have this here as well. Yeah. So with the new printing technology, you can play around in marketing. You can do very cool things. For example, here they printed 7 million unique decorated jars for this nougat cream, which means every single pack looks different. Yeah, I mean it's a marketing story. It's funny, it's cool. There's no additional benefit for the people. The only thing is they say, hey, that's cool. Maybe I start collecting. I'm not sure if anyone would collect empty nougat cream jars, but okay, maybe they do. I don't know. And here, this is very famous. I'm sure you know that. From Absolut Vodka. Again, 4 million unique vodka bottles. Every vodka bottle looks different. But this one here is digital printing with a sleeve around it. This one is another printing where they really, with kind of inkjet, put on every single bottle a different design, which is also very cool. So, and now the last one. And that's, again, only one thing about smart packaging from the technology side. There are so many things going outside with smart technology. It would be, again, a single presentation, you know, just on smart packaging. You have RFID, you have NFC labels, you have, I don't know, many other things, augmented reality, virtual reality, and so on. So here, only 3 examples. The one is that blinking Coca-Cola, again Coca-Cola, seems that you're really doing a great job at Coca-Cola. That blinking label, it's a printed OLED label, and it blinks, it's cool. Or another one here, it's from Bombay Sapphire, it's a folding box which shines in the dark, which is a really cool effect. And then the last thing I want to share with you, that's a promotion, what they did for Heineken Ignite. It's an interactive bottle. Maybe you have seen it before, but it was a promotion, what they did in Europe, only in exclusive bars and exclusive clubs. I mean, the issue or the problem what you have with those smart packaging is that it's really getting much more expensive than a traditional packaging, which means if you are in fast-moving consumer goods, you know, you have to look at your cost of goods. So You cannot afford it in every packaging, but you can do cool promotions. And that's what Heineken did. Can you start the movie?
Heineken has a rich history of innovation when it comes to their bottle design. This year they wanted to take it a step further and search for a way to connect people in clubs while keeping their product the center of the night out. In Heineken's Lounge of the Future, during Milan Design Week, we got people to keep their phones in their pockets by surprising them with something completely new. Introducing Heineken Ignite, an interactive bottle that connects people to each other and the club. We took the new Star bottle, equipped it with a special build Arduino board with LEDs, an 8-bit microprocessor, an accelerometer, and a wireless network transceiver, placed it in a 3D printed housing that could withstand cooling and allowed reuse of the unit on multiple bottles of beer. We even wrote our own VJ program to control every LED separately. Then, we let people find out for themselves. It ignites when people cheers. It sparks when they take a sip. And sleeps when left untouched. And when the DJ cranks it up, every bottle becomes part of the party and pulsates to the rhythm of the beat. Heineken Ignite, our first interactive bottle.
Cool, huh? That's what we are doing usually after our conference. You know that. Now this is only one example what you can do with with smart devices, smart technology, and as it getting much more much more expensive than a usual pack, you can do this with this promotion things, and that's a great idea from Heineken. So thank you very much. It was a pleasure to to present these ideas and our system, our model, and I'm really looking forward maybe to discuss later. And yeah, enjoy the next presentation. Thank you very much.
Crystal, there's a small trophy to thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, Gail.
All the
Thanks.
way.
Thanks.
And so our next speaker is Dr. Orhan Irmak from Istanbul. Thank you. Are you going to use this one? Are you fine? Okay.
Here we go. Hello everyone, I am Orhan, coming from Istanbul, and I'm so happy to be here in this lovely weather, especially when your friends are putting photos from snowy Istanbul. But it's not only the lovely weather, but it's also the warm-hearted people that I met so far. It's not only Gail, but everyone that makes me home here, even though I'm so far from Istanbul. So welcome to our conference. I'm industrial designer, and I had my PhD on the development pattern of packaging design. So this is the two reasons, Istanbul and my studies on the historical studies that they asked me to make a presentation about connection, heritage, and the future with a packaging design perspective. Heritage refers to many things, and I think it's nice to talk about it in a country like Africa, because I think we have so many similarities when it comes to heritage. It's about the culture, it's about the food, it's about the smell, it's about the people and everything we do along with that. And brands need to be aware of the importance of heritage while working on packaging design, especially in countries like Turkey and Middle East. Since heritage affects everything from positioning to product formulations, from packaging science to graphics, it's very important for building a healthy future for the brands to know very well where the cultural roots are. In my presentation, I will try to explain this issue in different sections. One of them is size. The second one is the taste, and then seasonals, and the modernization. And I will conclude my presentation with a case study. So let's start with size, with a special code, size does matter. And we are talking about packaging size, of course. So I will give some examples to show you how size does matter from 3 different categories. The one is the yogurt packaging, the second one is tea, and then the soap packaging. And I also will try to explain how size and the culture plays an important role in decision making. Let's start
Yoğurtlu yaprak sarma, süzme yoğurtlu kızartma, peynirli gül böreği, sütaş süzmeli salata, aile ve
Hadi bakalım. Herkes sofraya.
bir modern babaanne.
Ellerine sağlık.
Bir dakika kimse yemesin. Anneciğim. En az
Baba ben de çekeceğim.
Aa bu ne ayol? Bayram sofrasını internet kafeye çevirdiniz. Oturun yerinize, cepler cebe. Aa. Gülümseyin şimdi. Bayram servisi çekeceğim.
Sevdiklerin yanındaysa, bir de sütaş sofradaysa bayramın lezzeti bir başka. Hep beraber nice bayramlar.
Sütaş is one of the leading brands, one of our clients in Turkey in dairy business. And when you think of the family size, it's the average family size in Turkey is 3.2 people. But if you go to rural areas, it reaches up to 7.8 people. So this means we are talking about big family size. We enjoy living with our grandparents or with our grandchildren together, at least when in special occasions, but also in routine daily life. And also the role of yogurt in Turkish cuisine is very critical. We consume it a lot in the breakfast as a raw material while cooking, but during or any kind of with any kind of dishes. So this makes the shelf of yogurt like that. Packaging size varies from 5 kilogram packets to 3 kilogram, 2.5 kilogram, 1 kilogram, half kilogram to like 1 portions. So when you consider also the types, half fat, low fat, medium fat, and very other variations, so you may talk about up to 50 different size of yogurt packaging. And this does not include the yogurt with fruits or anything, so we are talking just about the plain yogurt. And another example is tea packaging. Well, again, it's worth to mention the family size, but also the cultural role of tea in Turkish society. This is a photo from a tea house where you can find in any office or in any building, wherever you go. So we drink tea a lot. If you go to a regular meeting, they would say, we are having tea, right? At the beginning, and actually it's not a question. So they are just ordering tea for you and for themselves, and it keeps on going and going and going. So during the working, there's always a place where tea is cooked, and I'm not talking about the tea bags. So that's why the shelf of tea in Turkey is, filled with packs from 1 kilogram of tea. So it's like 8% of the market runs through the 1 kilogram packs of tea. So, we enjoy buying it and cooking it by our own, not buying it in bags, in small bags. And I'm not only talking about the local brands, also the global brands act accordingly. You see the Lipton brand with competitors, local competitors. And the third example for the size will be about soap packaging. I don't know if you ever been to Turkey or ever been to Turkish hammam, the Turkish bath. So it's also part of our culture, especially in the old times. For instance, this drawing dates back to 17th century. Turkish bath was always played a critical role within the society. It's not only about having a shower, but it's about socialization. For instance, mothers were choosing candidates for their sons, like who can be a good option for my son to marry. So it's nice place to see, like no makeup, nothing, so pure, clear. So when you look at the image, you get so many idea about cultural issues, like you may look at the tiles, you may look at the costumes, decoration, the fancy shoes, but also there are some bars there. So just imagine you spend like more than like 3 or 4 hours. So the soap should be large so that it does not melt very quickly. So the average size for the traditional soap packaging is 700 grams of 4 brands. So this is for traditional soap. And this brand is our client. It's Colgate-Palmolive brand. So it's not only the local ones, but also the global ones act accordingly. My second subtitle is Taste as a Heritage. And I will explain this subtitle with 3 products: ice cream, dessert, and a special flavor for chewing gum, mastic.
Kaşı büker.
Uzar.
Boşuna uğraşma Halis.
Hadi oradan muhlis.
Dövme dondurmanın hası kaşı büker.
Uzar da uzar.
Büker.
Uzar.
Büker.
Uzar.
Halis amca, Mulis amca. Durun bir dakika ya. Algida'nın dövme dondurması hem kaşığı büker hem de uzun uzar. Bak, Algida dövme dondurma.
Nefis sütlü tadıyla, kaşıkları büken ve uzayıp giden kıvamıyla.
This is a special type of ice cream consumed in the eastern part of Turkey. Due to its formulation, it's very thick. I mean, you cannot even put a spoon easily in it, but once you do it, then it should stretch. So this is kind of a part of that formulation. So even, I mean, in the commercials, they are discussing to ice cream producers whether it should be hard enough or which is more important, or is it stretched. So, and the guy says, I need both to have a proper traditional ice cream. So this is the Unilever brand Algida, and you see that it's very critical for them to communicate to the people the way they used to eat it from traditional ice cream producers. I will give another example from our portfolio. Well, this is the traditional Turkish dessert. We have fig, pumpkin, and quince dessert. The way we cook it is actually we boil it with sugar and then serve it with some pistachio or like whatever it is. But it has to be reflects also the brand value. We are talking about Carte d'Or, and it's the positioning. It's a French chef, but he is doing some traditional desserts. So the packaging should be able to reflect that too, although looking opposing, but we need to harmoniously combine these 2 issues. And also they had a commercial about that I want to show you, because in a traditional way of cooking this dessert, you need to boil it for a very long time on the fire. But what they introduced, what's new with this product, that they have a cooking bag, so it's a mixture in it. You just put the fruit and mix it, and then put it in the oven, so it's much more easier to cook. So it's a product innovation as well. And let's see how they explained in the commercial.
Afiyet olsun anneciğim.
Nasıl yaptın sen bu tatlıyı? Ay ne zordur ayva tatlısı. Sürekli kontrol etmek gerekiyor.
Carte d'Or'dan ayva tatlısının en kolay, en hızlı hali. Torbalayın, çalkalayın, fırınlayın. Her seferinde aynı nefis lezzeti yakalayın.
Ne yorulmuşsundur sen?
Lafı mı olur anneciğim?
Carte d'Or'un en yenisi geleneksel meyve tatlıları. Meyvesi sizden, gerisi bizden.
So the lady gets the taste approval from her mother-in-law, saying that it's just how it should taste, and say that you should spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but she did not, so it tells about the story about that. The third example about taste is something that Tracy loves a lot, because in our last meeting in Sao Paulo, I brought some mastic flavored chewing gum, and she tried that. I mean, mastic is the liquid that comes from a mastic tree, special kind of tree, and it's only grown in Turkey and Greece, so you may imagine that it's a very local taste. And she said, why do you chew this plastic taste? So apparently it has nothing to do, I mean, it means nothing for a foreigner. But for Turkey, for brands like Falım, it's a Mondelez brand, but it's not only this brand, any brand has to this flavor within its portfolio to have a full range in the category. So it sells as much as the peppermint flavor, for instance, in Turkey. So we love it. We love it in chewing gum. We love the taste in pudding. We love it in the alcoholic beverages. So it's really a part of our culture. And my next topic is the seasonal packaging. We packaging designers love doing seasonal packaging because this is the time where brands are extending their rules and give us freedom to design some new stuff to stand out on the shelf. But it's not the New Year or like Christmas or something else that we are talking about when we come to heritage and Turkey. We are talking about the Ramadan. Turkey is an Islamic country, and like 99% of the population believes in Islam, and Ramadan plays a very important role in our beliefs. It's a holy month. For a month, people fast, and it's a long period, so it starts at midnight, so you stop eating, and you don't eat or drink anything until the sunset. So during the whole day, you actually eat nothing. But this brings another issue that during the night, everyone celebrates. Everyone invite their family members, their friends. They make huge tables for so many people. So that's why actually consumption rises dramatically during the Ramadan. And I will give you 3 examples of how the multinational brands act with Ramadan issue. So the first example also from Coca-Cola.
Ramazan pideleri zeytine, yayla çorbaları naneye, kebaplar pilava kavuşsun, iftar sofralarının eşsiz lezzetleri Coca-Cola ile buluşsun.
Of course, the size of the table is like exaggerated, but it's really that important that we invite people. And it's not only commercials, it's also the packaging that you see that every brand try to act local and try to respect that heritage through their communication. Chris gave an example from Nutella. And this is what Nutella does in Turkey during Ramadan period. Just imagine that there is no breakfast for the whole month. So, and Nutella is mostly consumed during the breakfast. So they try to localize themselves. They say that you don't need to consume it in the breakfast, but it goes well with very traditional Turkish bread. So kind of a communication about heritage. And the last example for this category is the Nestle water. Erikli, they bought the brand Turkey, and this is the special packaging design for the Ramadan period they made. And the last title before the case study is Modernization of Heritage. Yes, we are happy with our cultural roots, with our heritage, but also we try to modernize what we understand from cultural thing. And the first example will be Turkish coffee, and then olive oil and ayran yogurt drink. This is the modern Turkish coffee machine. I'm surprised that although we have such a long history with Turkish coffee, none of the local companies were able to produce a proper electrical device for cooking Turkish coffee in a traditional way, because normally you cook it very slowly and you have to mix it all the time, so it's kind of difficult to cook. But Arçelik did it well, and since it was the first successful company, it becomes a huge success story for the brand. So now they made the new version of it, and they won some Red Dot and IF Design Awards out of that. And I was also very happy when I was in Greece. In Greece, you have to order Greek coffee to have Turkish coffee, so it's just the naming. But they are also using a Turkish coffee machine to cook Greek coffee. It's basically the same. So they also found the way to export their design. And now they also have the capsule version of the Turkish coffee. So it's a nice example of how to modernize the cultural products. The second example is the olive oil. Turkey is one of the olive oil producers, like Spain and Greece and Italy. It comes from the nature and the climate. And I have two examples here. One of them is on the right. It's a package that contains olive oil that is produced only from the olives that are not less than 100 years old. The olive trees last more than 1,000 years. So that's why olive is very important. So when you were born, the trees were there, and when you will die, trees will be there again. So actually the land belongs to them, not to us. So we respect very much the olive oil trees and the olive oil. And the one on the right is our design. We did for Komili brand. It's the market leader in Turkey, but it's a limited edition. The rest of the range was quite dark green on the shelf, so in order to stand out with the limited edition, we have chosen white and gold decoration on it. And the last example is ayran. I told you that we love yogurt, but we also love yogurt drink. So it's somehow related with that. It's just yogurt in liquid format. Again, Sütaş brand, our client, when they came to us 5 years ago, they said, well, we are the market leader in ayran, but the perception of ayran is something that you drink with traditional dishes like kebab. And with this positioning, they didn't see any room to grow because they were already the market leader and the share they can get from competitors is not enough. So they said, we want to rebrand ayran. So not only about Sütaş brand, but they asked us to rebrand ayran, to make it more appealing to young consumers, to make it more charismatic drink, not a kebab drink anymore, but something that will take the attention of young audience through packaging. So this is what we did for ayran, and then the communication strategy goes along with that, and you will see the commercial they run during that period.
Yemek yediğin an gelsin Sütaş ayran.
So they say every time, everywhere. So the packaging design should also fit into that positioning. So that's why we try to make it more modern for a very traditional drink. I will conclude my presentation with a case study from Turkey. We talked a lot about food, beverage, or personal care, but I brought you a totally different category, an example from a totally different category. It's women's leggings. So we do packaging designers, although we mostly present some projects from food category or personal care or cosmetics, but also we work in many different categories. Just imagine any product that is packed. So Panty is the market leader in Turkey and has a long history in Turkey. So we actually tried to turn it from a traditional brand into a global brand. So that was the case with Panty. They have a market share of 48 in Turkey, so the brand awareness is 99%, so everyone loves that brand. And they have many stores, like even abroad, they reached 150. But there were some severe problems about the packaging design when they came to us. The problem was they had a huge portfolio, but without any proper segmentation. And I'm talking about more than 500 SKUs when you add the size and the color as well. The packaging designs were not communicating to the consumers. It were more or less designed from the producer perspective. And there were no visual language for new products with innovation and added value. That was one of the important issues because they wanted to introduce more innovative products, but the packaging, there were no room on the packaging to communicate this. And there was also a poor in-store shopping experience along with the poor design with the packaging. So let's have a look at the packaging I'm talking about. Well, before starting this project, I hardly had chance to visit the women leggings section and check the packages. But when they brought us the portfolio, I asked the question, why are all these ladies are unhappy? Is it because of the leggings you are selling to them? But look at them, especially the one on the right, like, are they on their period or like just their friend left? What's the problem with the packaging? So it's not only weak communication, but it's a wrong communication to me. But also it's not only the women's their figures, how they like present the leggings, but also the information a woman will look at on the pack. And with this category, we had a better insight about the women's world, because from men's perspective, black or dark blue socks will be enough, besides the sports socks. But here we are talking about 500 SKUs, so this also explains the women's mindset and men's mindset. But it was a challenging project for us, so we made a huge research about that on a global level, because they are trying to be global. So we had samples from Scandinavian countries, we went to Italy, and also from Russia, some examples. So not only online, but also physical research we made with them. And the reason why choose us was actually, as Chris mentioned, our strategical approach. This is what you can get only from a packaging design agency like the members of the GLBA. This is our business, and we build our strategy and research and everything based on the packaging design and communication. And our experience with the FMCG market helped us to build a strategy for them. So we looked different kind of brands and to see how much their brand architecture is tight or loose. So we tried to choose our way along different examples. For instance, at the Pampers, almost all of the product has the same packaging, but there's little room for product differentiation. But if you look at the Bird's Eye, well, the categories are have more room to differentiate and communicate. So we have chosen a strategy among them, and then we started to change packages. So this was one of the first example, hit the shelves. What we did is, first of all, you don't look at the leggings from the side with this position. So we put the viewing angle from the one who is in front of you and who is looking at the leggings. So from this angle, you see everything nicely in detail as well. And also the feeling of the woman wearing these leggings has changed totally. So here we see a passive mode, but here we see an active mode with a self-confidence. And there are so many categories that has to be different stories to tell. No one expect reading a novel from a packaging. So it has to communicate in a simpler way. So also you see from the brand architecture where the size is, where the thickness is mentioned, or where the subcategory is given. So it's all the same in the brand architecture. This was another story. They introduced very innovative products in terms of design. This one is actually a full body legging, but the part is black and the other part is transparent, and they have some kitty pictures on it. But they wanted to teach consumers how to combine that interesting socks, like what to wear on top of it, what kind of accessory you can wear with them. So that's why here the image covers more the dress as well. And this one was the most important category because this is where they are strong as compared to their competitors. It's the body shaping products. But the problem was these products has so many things to say, and they offer quite important benefits. But the front, I mean, the packaging on the side does not communicate that well. I mean, I don't know, she's sitting, but I mean, nothing more than that it tells me. But here we, with all the icons and the premium packaging perception we added through this one, they reached a 43% of rise in their sales for this specific category. And this is the category that makes the brand different and has a competitive advantage. And you see the range here. Well, we did a lot of categories with them in a coherency. This is what we do in packaging design agencies. We mostly work with large portfolios, and it's our responsibility to create and to keep the consistency among the packages. And finally, we also touched the in-store communication. It was not only the packages that communicate well now, but also we touched the in-store, so the directions of consumers, the clients, so that they can find the product easily first on the shelf and then in details on the size or the color. Even the people working at the stores were not able to direct or help their clients, so we designed things like that where there's a very brief summary of the product category with icons on it, so now the salesperson and the consumers are happily shopping in the stores. So this was the last thing I want to say about heritage, and thank you for everyone listening. So if you have any questions, please feel free after the presentations. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Everybody?
I will go there.
Break. Our Margot from Sao Paulo, she hasn't been able to arrive for us today, so let's take a 10-minute break, and after that we'll welcome Dave Seradini from New York. So quick 10 minutes, please, everybody. Thank you.
because actually I need to send this presentation within several hours somehow, and maybe.
I can see if I have it on one of my presentations. The traditional would be a good one. Definitely Remy Cointreau.
Or maybe I didn't follow the
You,
oh, this one. Oh, okay, yeah.
Remy.
Remy, yes.
I have no one here, right? Let me check one thing. Let me see if I have it covered. I don't know whether this would be relevant for you or not, because it's like
Because I think nobody has except you. Well known.
where's the return? Where's the images? This one? You did these. Not a good picture, but we did all of those. We did this. We did that. We did that. We did that.
Okay.
This is a better picture of it here. This would be a good one. So all of this we did.
And this also?
Yes. This is the minis. The minis. We didn't do that. So I'll show you the ones we did. So that's not bad. That's not a good picture. This golden margarita. This one. All of those.
Okay.
Okay.
And minis.
And minis.
Okay, great.
So these are two. This one here, we did this too. This one has the alcohol in it. This one is the mix.
Okay.
This you mix with alcohol. This is called ready to drink. And this you mix. And this one it's a golden margarita, so it's made with Cointreau. So it's got orange in it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry to disturb you once again.
No problem. No problem.
We had so many travels here. Sorry. Luxury drinks and champagne. No, not really. We don't do much alcoholic beverages.
But this olive oil,
It's premium one. It's one of the most expensive one actually, and limited edition.
Go to the side. You want to do a picture? To the side. Right side. Yeah, but you can make it faster.
From the
Just
home
from the
screen, you
side.
can just go to the right.
Yeah. Technology guy. It's even we are far away in Germany from
You had Nutella?
I don't even thought we were there.
Okay.
But
It's a different angle.
Oh, very good.
I also had Nutella, but it's the Ramadan pack, so
You had Nutella. If Anna has Nutella,
I had, yeah. But it,
before Anna. No, I know.
but it's Ramadan packaging, so it has nothing to do with that unique personalization approach.
Different perspective.
Totally. I like your cover page.
You like that?
Yes, definitely. Very Brooklyn.
That is actually right on the corner.
Really?
Not the hello part.
What about the GLBA part? The GLBA part?
To find that?
No, no. Yes. Hi.
No, I know. But it's not hello. It's funny. In New York, Brooklyn, street artists just
Turkish coffee, yeah, the machine, yeah.
because they painted over the graffiti. Yeah.
It's cost. They have two different types. One that cooks one pot for 3, and the other one has an entry for 2 and its own water container. So the single one costs around like $100. It's not too bad. And the other one with 2 pots for like for 6 more coffees for not for individual, but it's like 150 something.
What I do now, I buy beans.
Okay.
My mother brought. I'm originally from Syria.
Okay.
So my mother brought me this hand.
Yeah.
Put the beans in.
All right. That's the very traditional way we used to do it. Ah, okay. So you grind and then you cook. Perfect. But that one cooks really nice. So I really
saw the picture. It looks properly strong and button.
exactly the design and everything. So maybe you can find even online stores. I don't know. Just look for the brand Arçelik. So
yeah, I was in
pleased to meet you.
Istanbul.
Okay. Yes. Some of our projects are printing. So from our print specialist team, they go to Izmir for print proof and approval. Yeah. Or
I think so. But it
This
looks
weekend.
so smart.
Yes, and everybody seems to really be enjoying it.
I'm so glad.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
Good, well, thank you. You enjoying? Right, Dave. Everybody, are we settling? Thank you. I hope that was a good 5-10 minutes rest, leg stretch. Next, we welcome Dave Seredini from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome, Dave.
Is this on? It's up there. Can you guys hear me? Well, first I want to say thank you, Gail, for having us, and thank you, Stratcom team. You guys have been great and very hospitable, and really happy to be back in Africa. I just want to talk a little bit about what's happening kind of in the U.S., connecting through design, and kind of where we are heading. There's kind of 5 key drivers in the US with what's happening with package design. I just want to touch on those. First one is heritage. I'm actually going to walk down here so I can read my slides. Essentially, I mean, customers are really favoring brands in the US that have a lot of history. There's been a correlation between history and quality, especially with a lot of our younger consumers and millennials. And there's an affinity that brands can really tell a story. And one good example of that is what's going on with a few beverages. This is Miller Lite. In Miller Lite, you can see kind of the history of their graphic packaging up at the top. This is kind of where they've been and where they're at. And in lower right is where they are today. And the interesting thing here is that they picked up on packaging from 1974, so they're kind of going back to their old school retro packaging. Pepsi's doing the same thing. Pepsi has a whole new retro campaign. And a lot of this is this old is new, is perceived as cool, it's heritage, and it's authentic. And I think a lot of things happening with millennials right now is all about authenticity, transparency, real story. Pabst Blue Ribbon's actually an interesting case study because this literally was a dead brand in 2010. And when it was repurchased and the whole brand through marketing and packaging and promotions was reinvigorated by hipsters, basically. So they're really into, it's about authenticity, history, hand craftsmanship. I thought this was an interesting example of like a traditional packaged goods, Pokemon. Do you guys have Pokemon? All right, so Pokemon cards, right? I thought they bridged the gap between something, very tangible, hands-on, a game, and then they went into Pokemon Go with augmented reality. So it's kind of one of the few brands I've seen where they've transitioned from, old school to new technology, and really kind of played with that. Old Spice is another, I'm going to call it dead brand in the US that was reinvented through advertising, through marketing, through packaging, and again, appealing to younger consumers and young millennials. Simplicity is another kind of key trend, certainly in the US. And then you'll see, there's obviously a lot of crossover on what's happening in the rest of the world and here, but I think these are the kind of key drivers here. Less is more. And again, simplicity has a perceived quality to it. Minimalism is considered effective branding. It's arguable in a few cases, but we've got the beverages. It's happening in all categories. Tito's handmade vodka, huge success in the U.S. Brand new redesign done by Diet Coke, which is interesting, and it was done by a couple of millennials, I believe, in the south of England. They kind of lost the wave, slim can, so forth. And these examples here, lower right is actually a protein powder, and these are some soy milks here. And then up at the top right there is it's a brand called Gourmet, and that's macaroni and cheese. And to me, it's minimal, it's simple, but I'm not sure it's really communicating, what's unique and proprietary about the brand. I don't even know what it is. There's not a picture of food on it. It's not appetizing. But what's interesting is you take that package that's ultra simple and combine it with 12 other packages that are the same ultra simple, same not much, and you can get 356 likes on Instagram. So, personalization is another key driver in the US. We are really big on subscription-based services right now. I'm not sure, are you familiar? Do you have a lot of that here? Or? So a little bit, so basically how it works, you can get anything that you want, you can have delivered to your home on a monthly basis based on what your own personal desires are. So a couple of examples. Stitch Fix is a clothing subscription-based business. So you go online, you give them all your measurements, you give them what style I like, you choose the clothes that you like, and they'll send you 5 new garments every month. You take what you like, you send back the rest, and what's unique about them is they start to drill down and really personalize kind of what what your buying habits are, and start gearing things that they think that you will like. So that's happening kind of in apparel. In the US, food subscription-based businesses are huge. HelloFresh is just one of them. We have Blue Apron is another one. But here again, you can, on a weekly basis, you can have food delivered to your home, and they give you a menu. They give you pre-measured ingredients, and it's easy to make, and you go home 30 minutes and you have a gourmet meal. So when you go to the grocery store, you don't have to buy a whole big bag of some item that you're going to use just a pinch of. Everything's all pre-measured. It comes in, and so forth. BarkBox, you can do it for dogs too, for your pet. All right, so you get your pet on a subscription-based business. A couple other examples of personalization, and I thought that what Nestle was doing here with Toll House was really kind of cool, because you can go online, and basically you choose the category that you want to cook in. You choose the occasion that you're looking for, birthday, holiday, celebration, and then you use skill level, and then it will pull up all those recipes that fit that criteria. So it's personalization and added benefit to help support and build the brand. And Netflix is all about personalization and guiding things and picking movies and shows and things that you like. This is another example of this is remember how I just described the subscription-based food for people? This is subscription-based food for dogs. So it's actually fresh cut. It's fresh carrots, it's fresh beet, and it's all pre-frozen, and it's all subscription-based, and it comes in a nice little package. It has your dog's name on it, dietary requirements. I mean, supported by vets and so forth. And then the last example there is Jones in New York. That's a soda, so you can actually have your picture on the soda can. What did I just do? Oh, sorry. Health and wellness is huge in the U.S. It's probably let me rephrase. It's probably more prevalent in the bigger cities on the coast and so forth like that, as opposed to Middle America. But there is definitely an increasing affinity for whole food ingredients, natural products. Customers are becoming equally demanding about transparency on all the goods and products that they're buying. We have a non-GMO. Where's the pointer here? Which one's the pointer? This little symbol here, this non-GMO, is on every health product. It's almost becoming the standard for having food packaging in the U.S. There's also a USDA organic symbol that we use, and now we're even getting into like the wheat and the amount of protein that you get in all the cereals. So there's a wheat icon as well. So these kind of three icons are appearing definitely in the cereal aisle a lot, but you see it all around. We have brands, in the U.S. Honest. Naked, again, it's all about transparency. It's interesting that a Naked example that Gail had as well. So, Naked soap, Naked juice, And then, I noticed too, you guys have a lot of coconut waters when we did our audit. So we have a ton of those going on as well. Sustainability, another area of interest in the United States. And, it's about clean labeling, recycled materials, non-BPA. Again, simple, wholesome, transparent. I think those are kind of underlying themes all the way around. Less processed. But I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest takeaways, what's going on in the U.S. now is the whole local, from farm to table, buy local, source local, and so forth. And that, we see more of that happening we have a store called Whole Foods. Whole Foods was purchased by Amazon. Whole Foods is actually very similar to your Woolworths that we had yesterday. So it's all about consumers and educating consumers on eating fresh and eating healthy. The way they present the food is presented in crates, very very similar. There's definitely some sort of relationship. The way that Woolworths and Whole Foods look is definitely all kind of the similar ilk. One of the things that a couple of differences I noticed that I just thought were interesting. the way that your produce is set up, it's with the wooden crates, but all the produce is actually in bags and packages. Whereas at home, in a store very similar, it's all exposed. So all your apples are free, salads, lettuce, everything is just exposed. So I thought that was an interesting difference. The other thing that they have is it's an animal welfare rating system. So how the animal was raised, grade, what it was fed, whether it's cage-free, and so forth. So it gets into that. And then, the last example there is just a 100% recyclable aluminum. Oops, sorry. The 100% recyclable aluminum caps, and I thought the pack on the top is actually for rum, and it's made from melted, blended sea waste, plastic sea waste, which I thought was kind of cool. So where are we headed? What's next? So a couple of considerations are Gen Z. That's our next consumer. 11 to 16, they're digital nomads. My daughter is, my son is one. Socially conscious, socially responsible, and interested in those types of things. And they're born and bred in technology. I mean, this is just kind of, it's what they know. There's a real sense of community and group culture. So, I mean, the thing, Instagram, Snapchat, these are huge brands, and I mean, with Kim Kardashian launched her new perfume through Instagram, it just went through the roof. So definitely something that we need to consider. The other thing is artificial intelligence, right? So how is that kind of impacting what we're doing? And it's impacting many industries, across the globe, from banking to design. It's machine learning technology that uses algorithms to predict processes and tasks. It uses the same technology, and it's about streamlining and automation. So we it's like human brain on steroids. Just a couple of examples of what's going on is we have the Google self-driving car. This company here, Boston Robotics, actually created this robotic dog that opens the door. And it's pretty amazing what's going on. And then you guys have all heard, I mean, obviously IBM Watson. And they use it for research and enriches interactions and anticipates disruptions, makes recommendations, and scales and minimizes tasks. The one interesting thing going on, another interesting thing going on in the U.S. is with Amazon Go. So they've just opened this store in Seattle, Washington. And there's no checkout. So they use visual camera technology to track you in the store. So basically, you download the app, you walk in the store, you take what you want off the shelf. They know automatically what you have, and you just walk out without checking out, and then your account is built. So it's pretty cool stuff. We also see AI moving into design more and more. And I think it's kind of prevalent with a couple of these. This is a FireDrop, this is a website design platform, and then this is one over here. It's called the Grid. So I mean, the Grid it's just add content. It designs itself. It's your piece of new kind of internet. So these programs design the site for you. So like FireDrop, for example, has a snapbot called Sasha. And Sasha, you go on and you talk, Sasha pops up. Sasha says, what kind of business you in? I'm a farmer. Sasha, what do you farm? Eggs? And boom, Sasha will design a website for your farm. It's pretty crazy. And then of course there's Wix over here on the right. I too have a Nutella example. Different angle, but this is interesting because Ferraro used AI to generate those 7 million different designs. So it was done through Ogilvy and Mather, and so it was an ad age promotion, but they used the artificial intelligence to come up with all these different algorithms. Another interesting observation is digital crowdsourcing. And we're seeing this more and more. There's really been a proliferation of crowdsourcing design in big industries and small industries and design industries and so forth, by large and small. So, you know, it offers customers value, research, data, insights, and so forth. Obviously, it lowers corporate investment. And, you know, it can be, you know, it can be a detriment to the communication of the teams working on the project. But hey, you guys have 99 Designs? Have you heard of this? 99 Designs is a crowdsourcing website where you can design you can design your packaging all online. And the way that it works is you'll go online and here it's like, okay, well, what do you have? A bag, a box, whatever. Okay, I got a box. Down here, well, what do you like? So you pick the style design that you like. Oh, what's your favorite color? Come over and pick your favorite color. And then over here, you fill out your package design brief, okay? And then they take it and they outsource it to their various freelancers and designers for a contest. So all those freelancers and designers work day and night, submit their design to the contest, and then you decide which one of the contest winners you want to go with, and you give them $500 to the winner, and you move on. Pardon me? Well, I'm just here to report the facts. So it can be executional by nature, but so you know it's a little bit of design by democracy. And again, we see it happening with some big brands as well. So Unilever has an innovation through collaboration, and it's a similar type of thing where you can contribute to the Unilever's whatever, you know, help build and grow and provide insights to their business. Heineken used it for they have it's called the Innovation Brew House, in Ideas Brewery. They used it on this particular brand here. This was a beer that was targeted towards a 60-plus-year-old male. So they created a contest for this, and that was the winning design. Mondelez used it to do naming for an Oreo. And then you see, you know, more and more is happening again in design, you know, across the board. So, you know, why invest in design? I mean, you know, long-term investment in design has been proven to facilitate growth. You know, these are just a few brands that you know, by far and large are putting design at the forefront of their thinking. PepsiCo is a great example in the United States where they are really putting design has a seat at the table right from the get-go, and they're really pushing their innovation and design leadership from the top down. This is just a McKinsey report that just said over, you know, a 10-year period, design-led companies outperformed the S&P 500 by 219%. So the one thing that's interesting and relates to package design and is package design is really kind of it's your first point of contact with the actual product. So it's kind of where the rubber meets the road. And it's important to you know, make that connection and have that connection, and it's your one consistent marketing tool that can be used you know, long term, long beyond your advertising campaigns and so forth that wear out. Package design influences consumer perceptions of brand and values. So looking forward, how can we connect through design? I think it's you know, making sure that we have an awareness and knowledge of what's happening in the industry and adapt and change accordingly. You know, and these tools help us make and guide decisions, not dictate it. I mean, AI is great, but I don't know whether AI is really going to give you the emotional connection that you want to have with your consumers and your brand. It may help guide you and say, well, maybe we should be in this area, and this area, but is it really kind of bringing that human feeling into it? And I think you can't lose sight of that. And it's the responsibility of designers and marketers to understand how to organize these tools and facilitate that human connection. So designers must challenge themselves, optimize the technologies, and work with them. And we need to embrace the ambiguities and complexities of the future of design. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks. Forward, backward, that's a pointer. Okay, thanks. Thanks. Oh, thank you.
One of the leads of her area being noticed by Forbes magazine.
Oh, come on, yes.
Welcome, Anna.
Thank you very much, Gail. Hello, everybody. Very nice to see you. I will go upstairs if you don't mind. Just to be closer to my presentation. Yeah, thank you for coming. I'm very happy to see you all, and I would like to give you some more information about Russia, the trends in Russia, and the relevant packaging experience in my country. To begin with, I would like to introduce myself one more time. I'm Anna. I'm managing partner of for WPF. It is the branding agency that is part of GLBA Moscow, and of course I'm a board member of GLBA, Global Local Branding Alliance. That is why we are all here today. I'm also a board member of European Packaging Design Association, and that's me and my two dogs. Yeah, I'm proud owner of my two dogs, and I'm happy to inform you that my boy is a champion of Russia, just in case you don't know it. I don't have my own kids, but I have 3 nephews, and I love them very much. So now you have a little bit more personal information about myself, just to give more, you know, like emotional bridge with you and me. So you are welcome with your question after or during the presentation even. So I would like to have it more friendly way. So Russia, I come from Russia, and look at this slide. What do we know about our countries? So if you, there is no South Africa here. Maybe we should draw the picture of this stereotype. For instance, we know that everybody in Russia drink vodka, and we have bears running for vodka. Of course, in Brazil, they are running for football. Yeah, it's no wonder. In Netherlands, they're running for something different. You can see, yeah, Australia, it is on the right top. It is, well, vice versa, they're running upside down because it is the other continent, and so on. So, what do you know about Russia except we have vodka and bears? Why do I ask this question? Because if we create brands, if we create packaging for other regions, for other countries, we should possess more knowledge than just these average stereotypes we have. I think everybody in the world knows these, you know, pictures and these stereotypes about my country. It is very cold because it is snowing all year long. Yeah, it is partially true. We have churches, we have bears, we have balalaikas, we have a lot of vodka, and we are that, you know. But if we create packaging, if we create brands, I highly recommend not to use these stereotypes, because you create packaging and brands for the local community, and we don't perceive ourselves like this. And I think, well, it's clear. So welcome to Russia, and I would like to give you several ideas, several not stereotypic probably ideas about consumers, insights, and brands that operate on our local market. By the way, did you know that Russian girls wear high heels everywhere? I'm not in the high heels today, just to ruin the stereotype, but it's really true. Not only in the office, but if you see somewhere in Europe the girl that is going sightseeing on high heels, be sure she's from Russia. Yeah, or Ukraine, we have very much in common, so it is like, you know, as a Slavic tradition. And it's really true. And while creating brands, we use these kind of, well, stereotypes, with these kind of insights in order to create proper communication for the girls, for the ladies, not about the high heels, but it is the intent to look marvelous, to look beautiful. guess what is the product in this box? Do you know? Can you guess? It's not Agent Provocateur. Condoms. Well, yeah, no. Candies. It's chocolate box. Yeah, it's a gift box for chocolate, yes, and nothing special. It's nice when a man comes to a lady and brings something like this. Yeah. Global brands that operate on the local markets. Of course, it's not wonder every market adopt the brands for the local consumer needs. In Russia, it is very popular for the big brands that they, of course, they adopt global brands like Heineken or Heineken, I mean the main brand, but they also buy the local brands and they relaunch them for the consumers, for the local consumers, because I think it's everywhere the trend of patriotism, that people would like to buy local food. I think everybody knows that it is very popular all over the world. So, for instance, this is the example how Heineken create the local brands. It is Königsberg, the old name of Kaliningrad, and people buy it. And if you create the brand, you should know more about the consumption of this product. I will show you something. Beer drinking traditions. They are totally different in different countries, I would say. I hope that there is some beer tradition drinking in South Africa as well. Unfortunately, I don't know. What is it? Maybe we'll get acquainted with it. But in Russia, when people drink beer, they like to drink it with lobsters, let's say. It's a kind of lobster. It is a Russian way of lobsters. So men, they are sitting around a table with the bottles and eat this, you know, huge bowls of lobsters. So when we created one of the brands for the local market, we tried to find the understandable brand image that will be perceived nicely by the consumer. So this lobster is the main hero of the packaging, and this is the local brand of Heineken that is called Sverdlovskaya, with this main hero on the label. If you don't know this tradition, you would never create this. There are some specific traditions that you can find in each country, and I would like to show you two small movies. I hope you will like it, and then I will show you the product that came from these traditions. Another one, it is the continuation. So did you get the idea? So there is a special drink that is like having something inside, and you put the rubber glove in order to know is it ready or not. When the glove goes up, then you know that something is very good inside. Alcohol is inside. Yeah, so this kind of brand, this kind of project we created several years ago. It is a very small local production plant, but we like it. It's very nice and based on the local tradition to make homemade wine. You can try, the recipe is inside. You know how to do it. And yeah, and we gave it the name Glovely, like glove and love. Yeah. And what else I would like to deliver you in this short presentation is how we operate with big brands, with big global brands on the Russian market. Unilever is one of our, well, good clients, and what we do for them in order to raise the interest of different kind of generations, of different kind of consumers during the long period of time, because we are getting bored about from these, brands. So Lipton brands, brand for instance, yeah, we know Lipton brand. It's Lipton, it's tea. We drink it all day long, morning, evening, and so on. So how to make people buy this brand over and over again? I will show you some story that we created also a couple of years ago for Lipton in Russia, and the main purpose was to attract young generation, to attract we call them millennials, and a lot of speeches today were devoted to this mysterious young audience. What we did, we tried to understand what are they interested in. So the new visual culture, the new everything. So these people, look at them, these are Russians, they are totally different. We have nice girls and boys who are good students. We have patriots, this is also the new generation who are struggling for their country. They are constantly chatting, putting everything online. They are 24 hours online. So this generation, we call it Me generation, and we made the research what they like and what they stand for. So they are totally different. So for instance, I'm not a millennial, and when I see the millennials, I recognize that I'm different, I'm old. They make friends with their parents. I don't remember this. I'm friend with my mom and dad now, but I'm more than 40 now. But in that years, we were struggling, we were rebellions. And this generation, we found out that this generation, they don't want to rebel. They are nice, but they are totally different. And how to attract them, how to make them put likes on our designs, on our brands, it is very important. So we decided to integrate in this culture of this generation. And before we start working on the design, every time we create, we call it mood board, some, well, pictures that show the interests, the culture, the mindset of the consumer. So that was the mood board we created for Lipton. And those pictures should show what is interesting for our generation. And we found out that, well, they like traveling, they like to show off, they like graffiti. And so you can see here the piece of art we designed for Lipton. And the main idea of this limited edition was to promote brand with, let's say, holistic approach. So we created not only the brand design, not only the packaging design, but we created the design of the gifts, because everybody likes gifts. And this gift was mug. Just ordinary mug, but those mugs had various designs from different countries, so we also thought about the intention of people and that people would like to collect things. And if you have the mug from, I don't know, from Brazil or from Australia, you would love to have a mug from Japan probably. And that was true, because, you know, people were hunting in the supermarkets in in order to buy these Lipton boxes in order to have the full collection of mugs. It was crazy. And this is from Russia. Yeah, so that was one approach. Another one, new generation, new youngsters, they would like, not only youngsters, we also would like to have new experiences. So we tried to show the brand from other side round, yeah, so from the bottom, let's say, from different way. And we create some new messages for, let's say, ordinary taste, ordinary products. And for example, this is tin box that we designed for normal taste of pear, yeah? And so we put 2 boxes of tea inside, so the person could buy this tin box, and this tin box like a gift, because we would like to have beautiful tins on our shelves. And this project was also very successful. And of course, social media. What we do afterwards, we put a huge campaign on the social media, so people should post their mugs, tins, whatever, how they play with them. And that was very, very successful brand case. I'm sorry, it's in Russian, but it's just to show you the idea of this approach. It's not only about the design, it's also about the communication. And I would say that word of mouth, it is the greatest communication weapon now. And if the people put something in social media, you have a huge campaign free of charge. I will show you several more examples how we worked with Lipton. 2-in-1. Do you know what is it? Well, you can guess that that tea should be inside if we speak about Lipton. Yeah, but this is not a Christmas tree. It's just the normal, well, plant fig that you put in your room. And in Russia, people would like to put everything, you know, like for Christmas tree, they would like to hang things. So that was the basic idea behind this project. So we made it for the New Year holidays. And we simulated this New Year Christmas tree toys that we put in the normal boxes, and people liked it very much. So the Brooke Bond, it is also the brand that belongs to Unilever. Interaction is also important. As far as we have been working with Unilever for ages, you know, every year we should create some new ideas for these limited editions. It is very complicated task, because if you create mugs, so next year mug is not possible. If you create this New Year toy, these balls, the next year you should create something new. And last year it was Matryoshka. What we did, we promoted so Matryoshka, it is the doll, you know what is it, right? It is that traditional doll that you have several, one into another, and it is very popular souvenir from Russia. So we created these dolls, also from different countries, and people bought it for presents, for foreigners, so it was very nice, and I also brought some for my colleagues from GLBA. So the main idea was to involve people, to not just to buy the tea and drink it. You should be involved by the brand, to play with it, to interact with it. And of course, social media campaigns that follow afterwards. So people like, and they did crazy things, especially youngsters with these boxes. Customized shape. So you have noticed that all the shapes of these limited editions, they were different, and that was the task for us as well, to create some new shapes, some new concepts each year. So this is, I guess, last year probably, promo, because New Year, it is one of the biggest consumer occasions in Russia, and a lot of companies produce a lot of stuff for these holidays, and people consume them all this stuff. And I would like to show you the last limited edition that we created this year. So it is still on the shelves, because now it is snowing. When I came to Johannesburg, it was, you know, like a joke. It was -26 in Russia, and next day I came to Johannesburg, it was +26 in Johannesburg. I found myself in different reality. Yeah, but so So for me, it is pretty close because we just celebrated the New Year and it is snowing, and yeah, probably for you it's like from the other planet, but for us it's different. Yeah, so for this year collection we created something new, and we based on this box. It is like a carousel. And the design, it's pretty simple, because sometimes you or the client can't invest much money into the new shape development. So we should be very careful with this. And this year, so it was pretty easy. But the idea of carousel from the left side, and from the right side, it is the idea of light box or lighter, yeah, that you can that you can hang. And all these lighters, of course, from different. They depict stories from different countries. So I hope you enjoyed, and I thank you very much for listening to me, and you are welcome with your questions after the presentations.
Thank you, Anna. I can't imagine. I haven't been to Russia at -26, but thank you very much. And next up, and the last speaker for today until we close, is very special as well, like all of us, is Tracy, all the way from Shanghai. And Tracy, I think, is going to blow our minds, as she always does, with the digital world and the speed and pace of China. Yeah. Welcome, Tracy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is it on? Okay, so finally China. Are you excited? I'm so excited because, you know, this is my second time that I came to South Africa. And this time, you know, I have gone deeper into the South Africa life because Gail bring me home to stay with her for 2 days. You know, it's really pleasant experience except two big German Shepherd with me. It's like as tall as me, you know, so, okay. And then Aris took me to, you know, a lot of supermarkets. Supermarkets, big one and small one, and also, you know, low end to high end. So I find that I really dive into the local market and I find out that, you know, something we are like in common. Though I'm East and you are West, and then, you know, something like food culture is different, but, you know, as for snacks, I think there will be links. And one very important thing is you eat chicken neck. Yes, which I find, you know, those Germans, those Americans, those Russians, they don't, you know. Oh, you ate duck tongue, yes, in China. Yes. So I found out that's really, you know, splendid culture here. And now today I want to bring you to get little know about the digital transformation of consumption in China. So how many of you have been to China in the recent 3 years? So, this side win. You, okay. This is quite, you know, changes so quickly. Let me give you a figure of this. This is last year on November the 11th. It is on Tmall, which is created by the Alibaba Group. This is the online sales platform. One day generate $26.5 billion. Can't you imagine? This is all for, you know, FMCG products. So the consumption is really huge. And I realized that one of my colleagues, Dave from America, who is reading a book called Crazy Rich Asians. Yes, we buy a lot of things all over the world. That's, you know, that's Chinese people. And I have a video to get to know how, you know, how the internet works now. Thank you.
If you're sitting in the United States or Europe right now, you've probably never used a Chinese app. But the reality is, if you want to know how the internet will develop, China, the land once known for its cheap rip-offs, has actually become a guide to the future. You know, the internet is the internet. But for China, the internet is more like an intranet. So that means there is no Facebook, no Twitter, no Google. Instead, what filled the internet vacuum was a generation of Chinese copycats that have grown into huge companies. So for Google, you had Baidu. For YouTube, you had Youku. For Twitter, you had Sina Weibo. And the list goes on and on. It's almost as if the Chinese internet is a lagoon as an aside to the greater ocean of the internet. And in that lagoon, there are these swamp monster apps that bear some resemblance to the creatures in the ocean, but are mutated in some ways because they evolved in a different kind of environment. But things have started to shift in the sense that before, no one outside of the lagoon really cared about the swamp monsters. But now, all of a sudden, some of the features they've developed are so amazing that Western apps are trying to copy them. And the greatest example of this is WeChat. WeChat is an example of, for lack of a better word, a super app. It's a Swiss Army knife that basically does everything for you. It's your WhatsApp, Facebook, Skype, and Uber. It's your Amazon, Instagram, Venmo, and Tinder. But it's other things we don't even have apps for. There are hospitals that have built out whole appointment booking systems. There are investment services. There are even heat maps that show how crowded a place is, be it your favorite shopping mall or a popular tourist site. The list of services goes on basically forever. But it's not the variety of things you can do on WeChat that makes it so powerful. It's the fact that they're all in one app. So why does that matter? Hypothetically, imagine you're sitting at home and one day you notice your corgi is dirty. You open WeChat, hit a few buttons, and a few hours later a man shows up at your door with some shampoo and a big vacuum. Your dog gets cleaned and he looks great. You take a photo, you share it with your friends, and tag the dog cleaning business. You haven't left the app. Your friend who likes Hello Kitty and works a boring office job is slacking off at work and looking at WeChat. She sees the photo of your clean corgi. She decides she wants her poodle clean. She clicks the tag on your photo and orders the same service. Within seconds, the man with the big vacuum is on his way to her house. She pays him, and he's happy because he got paid instantly on WeChat. She starts chatting with you to thank you. Neither of you have left the app. While chatting, she tells you about a new hip noodle joint. She says, you have to come. It's a schlep, but you accept. She orders food while still at her desk. You order a taxi. She pays for the food. On the way to her house, the man with the big vacuum invests the money he earned from both of you into a wealth management product that's probably a little too risky. Neither of you nor the man with the big vacuum have left the app. Both of you arrive and the app tells the kitchen you're there. Your WeChat profile photo pops up on the wall. It's an old photo from the year you had that weird part in your hair. Of course she makes a comment. Your food is served. You notice your meat is a bit overcooked, so you snap a photo and post a disparaging restaurant review. You're already on your phone, and you remember you still owe your friend money because she paid. You transfer her money. Neither of you, the man with the big vacuum, nor the restaurant, have left the app. At the restaurant, there are no menus, there are no waiters, there is no cashier. There is only WeChat. By rolling so many functions into one single app, it's altered the concept of virality. It's no longer just videos or images or tweets that can go viral. It's a dog washer, noodles, all sorts of companies and products that get the push of a social network. Here in China, that network is 700 million people. Sounds great, right? Well, it is, but using a single app to find a date, schedule an oil change, or notarize a document also enables WeChat to collect a staggering volume of personal data. They know what you talk about, who you talk about it with, what you read, where you go, why you're going there, who's there, how you spend money when you're online, how you spend money when you're offline. The list goes on indefinitely.
Yes, I think this is modern China now. So this is really real. I'm not exaggerating anything. This is what we are doing every day. So, my phone cannot leave me because, this is my best friend and I use it for everything, starting from go out and then go home. So, internet has changed the way how we live. I think this future will come everywhere in the world. So China just developed so rapidly these years because the internet and because the Alibaba. And as you can see, I had a figure here about the BRIC countries, numbers of online shoppers. Actually, I have see that currently in 2016, these 5 countries recorded 47% of the global total online shoppers, and it will amount amount to 61% of the global online shoppers in 2022. So I think the developed countries are doing quite well in the internet and online shopping. And actually, I checked today what exactly Chinese people like from South Africa. Actually, one product, it is your bio oil, which is welcomed in China. So this is for pregnancy, wrinkle, something like this. So it is sold online. And so China now is the largest e-commerce market in the world, and now is setting the benchmark for present and future global retailing. This is really true, and we have been go through very mature things like a payment system or logistics, shopping experience, very mature. I give you just 3 examples of this. First is mobile payment makes life convenient. I go out with my phone. I can survive without any cash or credit card because everything I do, I pay by my phone. There are 2 biggest companies to pay. One is Alipay, another is WeChat Pay. WeChat Pay insert in WeChat. Alipay insert in the Alipay app. So these biggest, even Apple Pay cannot win the Chinese market because these are local. Chinese like the local things. So imagine you can scan the bus when you're on the bus, so you pay the tickets. You can buy things at the street vendors, like the grannies are selling vegetables. You can scan the QR code at their front and they receive the money. So even the older grannies are using, these things. Yeah, and everything, like for example, the mobiles, as Gail has mentioned, we also scan code and then we can take it wherever we want. So this payment system is really strong now, and it is quite safe, actually. So this is first one, and second one is live broadcaster drives sales. I can say that a lot of brands want to market in Chinese market, and you can have plenty different tools as you do in market here, because the internet era and also the millennials. So where the young people is, then it is your marketing weapon should be pointed at. Live broadcast is one. So look at her. What is she doing? She is doing live her streaming for eating and earning money. Can you imagine that? And this one is a very hot, hot star or something, selling product on Taobao, on Tmall. She is quite, expensive. Because if you are a brand, you want to hire her to sell your product. Just for example, last year, one of my clients hired her for just 3 minutes. She sold out 3 boxes of his chicken wings. Just several speech, okay, this is hot, spicy, this is really good. Then 3 minutes, gone. So she earns a lot by live streaming on the Taobao. And this is also, these are from one of my clients. They hired an anchor from the TV, so attracted his fans. So, and I remember Mondly has invited Onio to do live streams here on Taobao. So that's different tools we are using to interact with consumers. And the third one is, self-driving grocery stores and self-picking chef. This is new in China last year. Just like Dave said, the Amazon Go. We also have similar Amazon Go, but we have, upgraded version, or yeah, it's a box. It can move anywhere. It's more cheaper. It's low cost, and then. Actually, there are over 50 companies are competing in this. They create their own brand to do this kind of, shop and go like things. And another thing is a shelf, self-picking shelf. So the retailers are crazy. So they even put the shelf into the office. Last year, a lot of investment are in this. For example, this is Hilton Hotel. I can put this shelf into Hilton Hotel, for example, this floor. And if you want to buy stuffs, then I just take it and I scan the QR code, I pay. So it seems, crazy because somebody will steal or something like this. But it is the purpose. They want to solve the problem of marketing in the final 1 mile. People are so lazy and they just want to pick something at hand. So many companies are competing now, but I'm sure that in the end, the giant like Alibaba or Tencent, they will just buy them and make it really strong. So this is actually what is happening in China now. In conclusion is we have trusted digital payments infrastructure. We have innovative social commerce model. So, and we always have mobile first consumer behavior. That's why I want to mention it is quite related to our brand, our brand design, and even our marketing or promotion. So this is another voice, which is like South Africa. I don't want the brands my parents are using. In China, we have 400 million millennials. So this is huge population, and they are the, engine of all the sales online. What they are like is, we have one child, one policy for one family, one child. Yeah, for a long time. So, for example, I'm the only child in my family. So, I'm spoiled because, I have my parents, I have grandparents. So, 6 grown-ups are taking care of me. It is not like your Western people. Chinese are quite, they don't want the kids to be hurt. So they buy everything. For example, milk powder. They want everything good for their kids. They will, buy overseas just for safety or something like this. So this is iced tea. Iced tea I also saw in your supermarket. This is the iced tea version in China, which works really good. It won $1 billion at the launch year. In the first year, $1 billion. I think it's right. So you can see these are just cartoons. These are funny things. I want to tell you, everybody, is like the Chinese economy is like we like amusement, we like entertainment. The young people like something interesting. So I see a very funny wine bottle in your supermarket called Fat Bastard. I don't know which brand who created this, but I think I told Aris, wow, this is, it will sell, yeah, it's interesting to find something similar that maybe, I don't know, is it, similar culture, you also need something interesting in your environment, so I don't know. So new retail era has come to China. In the past, it is always like, the manufacturer have the product, then it's go into the market and sell to the consumers. But now it is, vice versa. It becomes the consumers will decide what kind of product they want, and then they go to the market. If you don't do consumer insight, if your package design and your statement do not understand consumers, then you will die soon, because the rapid speed in China, you die and you spend a lot of money investing in promotion or something. That's why we are saying that, package design is not only packaging design. It is the first phase that you let us know what are you and what you attract us. So this is really, really important. It's the gene, it's the DNA of everything. It's the starter of your promotion, your investment. So this is the Chinese market, more playful attitude, easily accepted new things, and spread quickly on the social media. As I have showed you how we play on WeChat, and also we have Weibo, copy Facebook, something like this. So how brands and packaging designs react. I will show you something that is really hot in China now regarding to the packaging designs. First is global brands. They take reactions. They introduce new products, creative ways of promotion. For example, this is the limited edition for the dog year. This is very important for Chinese culture. So people will like it. Wow, it's so adorable, like to bring home. And second one is Oreo. This is Chinese traditional paintings, and I have a video here this Oreo promote online. It creates something interesting. Yeah, sound. Oh, but no. Oh yeah, okay. So this is interesting, right? This is cool. We like it. You know, they create like a music box, yeah. And you buy real Oreo. You put the Oreo biscuits inside, and then you bite it. It changes sounds. It is interesting. The whole shape inside, it is one sound. You bite one, it is another sound. You bite another one, another sound. So it is launched online. It is a good campaign, I have to say. It launched online, and then people are there ready to buy in order in case they are all sold out. So it sold out in the first day they launched. It is quite successful, and it is a good promotion for the brand. This one is from Coca-Cola. We like the Chinese sayings here, which is also in a funny way. For example, that one means, be rich every day, something like this. So we like these kind of things. And another one here, I will invite this, a weapon. I will show you something. This Kinda uses AR, which is augmented reality. Oh no. Wait a moment, I have something wrong with my... Yeah. So let me scan it. I don't know whether it works or not. No? Yeah, turn on the light. It's AR. You don't need any QR code. It's just the picture they are point at, and then it's something jump out. The egg jump out, and then you click in. There is some small games that you can interact with the brand, which is makes consumers more connected with this your brand. So the Wi-Fi is bad here, so I cannot go into the game. I will show you later if anybody is interested in. So I think it's very interesting, especially for the kids. And also, there are local brands heading more international. For example, take one brand, which we are very proud of this one. It's a very local one, but their designs are very, I think it's international and very quality to Loom seems very premium for the market, and they are really also very innovative. And I bring another bottle of them, which also use AR. This is spring water. Are you hungry? Because I have long speech. Is there anybody want to? Oh no, maybe we can do it later because if you use my phone to scan the bottle, then you will have something magical happen on this bottle. Yeah, it's on the phone, and it will have music, and it will have like planet in the sky, something like this. It's good experience. So this is another AR. I will leave this for Gil. it's important here. And also another one is change for the Chinese people is we are Chinese culture regulation. In this case, I tell you that we have a new they have a new idea to put tea in the aluminum box. How do you say box? Capsule. So it is expensive. You know, tea in China is we are rich of tea, but you know we don't have tea brand. Like when before I go to this industry, when I'm a student, I only know Lipton. So it is so shame. But now this brand want to create something that belongs to Chinese heritage. This is like this is not the same, but it's the same concept that this is actually chrysanthemum. It's a flower. We can put it's a whole flower. We can put in a drink. Yeah, it's tea. So they just put one in this. Guess how what? It makes it very expensive. So, for example, this kind of box, it's like 1,000 rand. 1,000 rand. Yeah, and it has become premium tea soon. You know, so because of the material changing, and they said that they put a nitrogen protection, so they put some gas in it to protect the freshness of the tea. So that's the case. Okay, so another is convenient packaging for laziness. This is also interesting, which is very hot last year because because every year we will have some product which will bump in the market, and this is one. You know, Chinese people like to eat hot stuffs, hot meals. So this is the case that we put our we heat the meal, food. For example, first it is this package you got, and then there are two layers. First, you will have your food here. It is in vacuum pack, so you put them inside this tray. This tray you put clean water and another weapon, which is this chemical stuff. It is dangerous. Like, I don't know how to say this in English. This is chemical. If it goes into water, it will come heating, you know. So after 10 minutes, your food can boil. So it is really, really good for the Chinese people. If I don't want to go out for dinner, I just have something and hot ready made. So this is interesting. And we have digital printings because everybody is asking about how this digital printing is developed in China. Actually, it is not in mass use because of the cost is too much. If we produce a bag very expensive, then it will sell more expensive. So it's not. But one of our clients who is in the candy industry, they produce mint in the past, and they buy a machine called Indigo 2000, which is a big one, expensive one. So they have changed their business from sell candy into sell media. So what is media? It is this package. They can produce different kind of package in 28 hours, which is really quickly. I have some candy package here also. It is their mind thinking is like a lot of, for example, banks, hotels, or even restaurants, they will have their own candy for you to taste free. So it will have their own logo on it, or even QR code or telephone numbers. This is for promotion. So immediately, this candy turns into media. That's how the digital print machine works in China. In China now, this one. And having extremely good shopping experience. This is important because, if you want to launch product in China online, then good shopping experience is really, really very strict. important. For example, this brand is the top brand on Taobao for fruit nut. It generates the sales like up to $83 million only one day last year. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah. So how we experience their good service? First, after you order, it will react quickly to send the parcels to you. So when you receive the parcels, you will see that a very friendly and warm sticker on the box. It says like that. Oh, dear mailman, could you please kindly to pass my food to my master, something like this. They called their client master. So in Chinese, it's so sweet, So first, you have this impression. Second is you have this on your box outside here. This is used to open the belt here. So everything a consumer mind, to open, then you have one. When you open it, you have three bags of your food, and then inside this pack, you will have a clipper and also your food. And then you will have a garbage bag for you to put the shells in the garbage bag. And then you will have a postcard. If you want to say something, then you can write down. And then you have a lot of, like small things people will like. So like something to put your card in and some wet napkins to wipe your hands. Extremely good. You will not go to other brand if you can feel that this brand think really, really thoughtful of everything. So shopping experience is really, really important in China. Everybody, because there are thousands of brands in China, different like your country is so mature. Chinese have a lot of competition. So how you will stand out, this is really important. Okay, another thing is also another AR example, we turn packaging into media. This is created by our company, and this one we also will use my phone. This is AR, and when I scan the package, this how to say that? Characters will show up on your screen. So after he showed, it is a small game that you can play with your phone. So this character will throw the potato chips to you. So you just need to catch with your phone. So if you collect enough scores, then the brand will send you gifts for this. And also, at last, At last, these images will show on your screen, and you can make it bigger like this. This is our colleague in Shanghai. And if you can make it small like this, and you can take pictures with these kind of things, and you can, again, promote WeChat, then your brand spread away, It's cool, right? So, last is sentence is consumers want more than a product, especially in China, this competition-fierce country. So I hope we can chat more if anybody is, interested in the Chinese market. And I'm glad to be here and to talk about these kind of things. Thank you very much.
I hope you all found that very insightful. Tracy always manages to disrupt our thinking process and gives us a different angle on the social media and intelligent packs. Everybody, we're going to adjourn, but before we do, I first need to say a big thank you to my Stratcom team. Avril, stand up, please, with everything that you've done to organize this conference. I think everybody are not only designing packaging and doing strategy and looking after customers, they've moved furniture. made flower arrangements, but thank you, all of you. And mostly also thank you very much to our international guests that have joined us today, and we'll go on a safari this weekend, and mostly our customers. And if there's anything or any questions that you have, we'll join you for a finger lunch, and you can ask questions. And of course, if there's any other questions you have or you wish to engage with any of our team further, just give us a call and we'll make it happen for you. All right, don't forget to take your parking tickets, admin, to the reception desk when you come in, and you'll get a new one, so you don't have to pay for parking. Thanks, everybody. Let's enjoy some lunch.